creamy custard-like cheesecake that is so simple to make and honestly will become your new favorite type of cheesecake. Today we're making burnt Basque cheesecake. It is a different kind of cheesecake than your regular classic cheesecake that is made with a crust. It is baked at a very high temperature and its texture is more like a custard in the center. As you can see, it's so smooth and silky and it's super duper easy to make with only 5 ingredients. The first thing that we're going to do is prepare our pan. Use a 6-inch pan. It does not need to be a springform pan. This is just what I had on hand. And then you're going to take a big piece of parchment paper and then just push it into your pan and then fit it like this. It does not have to be neat. In fact, it's supposed to look crinkly and messy. The ideal pan size for this recipe is a 6-inch pan. My 6-inch pan wasn't very tall, but I had this one, which was just a little bit over 6 inches, about 6.5. That's why my cheesecake is a little bit less thick, but if you use a 6-inch pan, you're going to get the perfect thickness. Even if you do use a slightly bigger pan like mine, don't worry, the taste is still going to be amazing. In a large bowl, I have here some room temperature cream cheese. For this recipe, it's really important that all of your ingredients are at room temperature. And into this, I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla extract and then use a whisk to mix this until it's nice and smooth. This recipe does not need an electric mixer because we are not looking to incorporate air into this batter. In fact, we want to keep the mixing to a minimal. Once the cream cheese is nice and soft, we're going to add into that some granulated sugar and then give this a good mix just until incorporated. The written recipe with tips and tricks, step-by-step instructions, as well as the printable recipe is available on my website, thefoodflamingo.com, and you can find a link to that in the description box below. Next, we're going to add in eggs. This is 110 grams of eggs, which is around 2 large eggs. I beat that in a separate bowl, and then I'm going to add this in around 2 to 3 batches, mixing just until combined between each addition. If you love cheesecakes, but you're really scared to try it out, you have to try this one first because there's no fuss about cracks or water bats or anything like that. In fact, we're supposed to burn the top of this cheesecake, which is why it's actually so simple for anybody to make. Next, I have here some heavy cream, and into that I'm adding 10 grams of cornstarch, or you can use cake flour as well. And then I'm going to whisk this. Adding the cornstarch into this cream is going to make it easier to mix into the cheesecake batter so we don't overmix the batter later on. Now we're going to pour this cream into the cheesecake batter. Whisk until just incorporated, again making sure not to overmix your batter. And that's it, the cheesecake batter is ready to go. It's that simple. Now what we're going to do as an extra and very important step is to strain the mixture. I'm going to put this sieve right on top of my pan and then strain it through. This is going to help us remove any lumps that's in the batter, ensuring that our cheesecake is nice and silky smooth once baked. Give it a few taps on the countertop to remove any air bubbles and then bake at 220 degrees Celsius for around 18 to 22 minutes, depending on how creamy you want the center to be. If you want it to be creamier, then you can stop at 18 minutes. But if you want it to be a little bit more stiff or holding its shape, then you can go up to 22 minutes, but do not bake it for more than 22 minutes. Otherwise, it's going to be overbaked. Once the cheesecake is baked, it should be super jiggly like this. That's when you know that it's perfect. If your cheesecake is not jiggly, you have definitely overbaked it. Let that cool down to room temperature and then chill that in the refrigerator for at least 6 hours or preferably overnight. It's finally the next day and we can dig right in. You're going to carefully pull the cheesecake out of your pan and then remove the parchment paper from the sides. Doesn't that look amazing? I'm going to cut right through the middle and show you guys what it looks like in the center. It's so creamy and delicate. It tastes almost like a cream cheese custard. You can slice this into 6 pieces or however many pieces you'd like, and then that's it. You can dig right in. This cheesecake recipe is one of my favorite cheesecake recipes, and if you're a beginner in baking or when it comes to cheesecake, you definitely have to give this one a try. You can serve these as is, but I like to top this with some chocolate ganache to make it even more luscious and delicious. Honestly, if you serve this to someone, they're not going to believe that it's made with just 5 ingredients. Look at that amazing texture, and this can only be achieved if we bake the cheesecake for the right amount of time. When your cheesecake comes out of the oven, it should be super jiggly, as I mentioned earlier, and that's what's going to give you this amazing texture. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the Food Flamingo for more easy and delicious recipes just like this one. Like the video if you've liked it, and comment down below if you've tried this recipe or if there's anything else you'd like me to make, or even where you're watching from or what your favorite dessert recipe is. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.